let's not have America go bankrupt with waste and fraud. The waste and fraud in entitlement spending, which is which is most of the federal spending is entitlements. That's like the big one to eliminate, because that's the sort of $500 billion, maybe $700 billion.
Elon Musk's recent comments on entitlement spending prompted a flurry of headlines and posts over fears the Trump administration may cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. The Doge leader's remarks also raising the question of where he came up with a figure as high as $700 billion. The White House is defending Musk, saying in a statement Tuesday he did not call for cutting benefits in his interview on Fox Business on Monday, and instead was focused on the waste and fraud within those programs. The White House also points to an estimate from the U.S. Government Accountability Office saying taxpayers lose as much as $521 billion annually to fraud, most of that within entitlement programs. But according to the Social Security Administration's Inspector General, the agency made about $72 billion in improper payments from 2015 to 2022, less than 1% of the $8.6 trillion the agency handed out in benefits during that time. Musk did at one point in Monday's interview cite the Government Accountability Office report, estimating the government may lose up to $521 billion yearly to fraud, but that report covered the entire federal government. Numbers aside, U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders says Musk's call for cuts in mandatory federal spending is a step in the direction of Social Security privatization.
Well, he has called Social Security a Ponzi scheme. They have already laid off 2,500 employees of the Social Security Administration. Anderson, I think I speak for probably every member of the Senate in that the calls that we get in large numbers are people who are saying, I'm trying to get a hold of Social Security. I got a disability issue. I can't get a hold of anybody. And the reason is the Social Security Administration today is understaffed. There are estimates out there that tens of thousands of people with disabilities die while they're waiting for those benefits to come to fruition. They apply, they're waiting. And now if you do, as Musk and others are proposing, not only 2,500 Social Security employees, they want to cut half of the Social Security employees. That will be a disaster. That will mean that millions of people who are, calling up, they're not going to get an answer. So if you ask me, I think this is a prelude not only to cutting benefits, but to privatizing Social Security itself. I think that's in the back of their mind.
President Trump has repeatedly said he will not cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid benefits.
I'm not going to touch Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Now, we're going to get fraud out of there. You see where I talk about it all the time. We have people 250 years old and all, tremendous fraud.
In a recent interview, Republican Speaker of the House Mike Johnson talked about reforming Social Security and Medicare benefits for future retirees while protecting those already receiving benefits.
The Republican Party is the party of fiscal responsibility. The American people want us to review the expenditures of the country and get our fiscal house in order, and that's what we must do. At the same time, we've got to extend the Trump-era tax cuts so we can make sure that every American does not receive the largest tax increase in U.S. history at the end of this year. We have very serious work. We can do both of those things simultaneously and not affect benefits for anyone who relies upon those and is eligible to receive them.
The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office said in a report last week that Republicans can achieve their goal of cutting $2 trillion in federal spending over the next decade without cutting Medicaid. The current federal budget deficit for fiscal year 2024 is approximately $1.8 trillion. For Straight Arrow News, I'm Kaylee Carey. For all your latest news headlines, download the Straight Arrow News app today.